at our first ever podcast. This is episode 1.
The Godcast.
The Godcast, as we like to call it, because this is all just like how CHRISTBEAST is all for exalting God and Jesus and the Holy Spirit. We want to do the same thing through this podcast, so we're calling it the Godcast.
The Godcast. So welcome to the first episode, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we've been talking about doing this.
Yeah, for a little while now.
Yeah.
For a little while, and we'll talk a little bit about what kind of gave us that extra push to finally just pull the trigger on it and just do it. A little more here towards the end, but
and there's a lot of projects we want to do.
Yeah, there is. Lots of big projects coming up, and I know eventually we're gonna need a lot more help. But
so yeah, a lot of you hitting us up. Hey, do you guys need help? Do you guys need editors? Do you guys need graphic designers? All this stuff. Yeah, eventually we will. Mm-hmm. Right now, it's like starting up, so it's a 2-man team right now. We can kind of take care of it for now, but there will come a time where we'll reach out to some of you guys.
Yeah. So what we got today?
So we're going over the recap of July.
Mm-hmm.
Just some few key points that we saw, or releases really, that were just like, wow, that's really sick. First of which will be Summer 19 release of 116. For those of you who don't know what 116 is, it's pretty much the whole crew that I want to say Lecrae started. Some of you guys might know more than we do, but I think Lecrae started.
I did look up Lecrae on DatPiff once.
Oh really?
Yeah, and it was like,
did he have a lot of albums on there?
No, it was actually, now that I think he might have had a couple, but the one that really stuck out was the one where it was like the Brady Bunch picture,
Oh, like the bunch of squares of pictures.
Yeah, exactly, and it had like all the artists that we currently know, and they were like on an old album.
I want to say,
a long time ago.
I want to say it was Lecrae and like Tripley.
Yeah.
And those guys and like Tadashi. I don't know who was the first one.
There was a couple people
like,
on there.
Yeah.
I'll pop up the picture right here for you guys so you can see that.
And yeah, so that Summer 19 release is just awesome. It's cool because they do it every year. I remember last year's, it's really sick too. But this year they came out, and there was one artist that I had mentioned to Mickey, saying that I think is a new artist for 116, and it's Hovey. And
yeah, Hovey.
It's definitely different. It's kind of like, it's still rap, but it was like a different style, different genre. So if you haven't checked that song out, check it out. What was your favorite song in it?
Activate.
Tadashi.
Yeah, with Tadashi. Something
Stephen
about
Malcolm
that
too. Stephen Malcolm, isn't it? Yeah, Stephen Malcolm.
Is it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Right. Well, something about that song that just really speaks to me because, a lot of times when, you got life coming at you at all angles, and this happens to everybody. It's not like just Christians in general, but this happens to everybody. But in that song when he's just like, I'm about to activate, this is God going through me here, and it's like I'm ready to kick the devil's butt,
Right.
And so
I think it's
I just really like that.
Oh crap! Now I'm spacing out. I had just thought of activate. Dang it, man! I just spaced out. But yeah, activate was your favorite one. Mine was probably Switches. I think
Switches
I mentioned
is also really
Switches
cool.
is really sick.
I really like that one too.
Yeah, DJ Michael V and Joey Vantez and John Keith. Those guys killed it on that track.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one was In Love with Wande. Which I think that one was really cool because I get when you all rap that has like some sort of message that is almost relatable, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
To me and you.
Mm-hmm.
Or to anybody. But with with Wande in Love, it's a love song for God.
Yeah.
So it was really cool to just like, oh, you're not talking about anything else besides how like being in love with you is like the best thing. It's like you don't have to worry about any friendships other than that main one. Obviously we want to have friendships, but the most important is with God. And she really said that in that song, and I was like, that's really sick. Yeah, that she did that.
Yeah, it's really cool to see when artists do that.
Yeah,
I mean, especially artists like these, because you know, you obviously you get all those kind of songs when you listen to like Hillsong or Bethel or you know, but when it's like artists like these that start doing that, I just think that's just so cool.
Yeah, like, and I think it's really powerful when any artist in whatever genre just starts exalting God and connecting with God. I think that's why, like, I actually just saw on Instagram that Cass, she was at a show, and this guy in front of the crowd, like right in front of her, was jumping up and down like crazy throughout the whole thing, and he was so happy.
This is at one of her shows.
Yeah, and through Sticks and Stones. Okay. And he's just jumping up, and like he's the one, like, out of everybody, you notice him. Yeah. And she was just like, kind of like, this guy's going in, like, this is crazy. And they talked afterwards, and I guess he was healed from his back while singing Sticks and Stones. So like, it's crazy because,
that's wild.
Yeah, so like that's the first time I've ever heard out of this group, and I don't want to say Cass is in 116, but I think she kind of is a little bit. Actually, she is, isn't she? Because she was on Lightroom.
She was on Lightwork.
Yeah, Lightwork.
She was on Lightwork. But I don't know if she was actually like signed by.
I don't know. I don't know if you guys know. Write in the comments. But yeah. So out of this whole group, this is the first time I hear that someone gets healed from singing a song. Yeah. And you know Cass's music. That's why we fell in love with Cass's music, is because it just exalts God with everything. Yeah. And then it adds 808s. It adds those cool synths. It adds all that stuff that we love.
Like a modern touch to it.
Yeah. So yeah, when I saw that post, I was like, dang, that's crazy.
That's wild.
Like, dude jumping up and down because he literally got healed. Yeah, who wouldn't? You know what I mean? Yeah. So that was really sick. Yeah. That actually leads us to Cortez and Cass's collab, Daily, which just came out, I want to say like a week ago or something. But that's also really cool too.
Was that part of the 19?
No, that was like Cortez. You know how Cortez, we were talking about this, he's like still in high school. I think he's still in high school. Yeah. Because I briefly talked to Montel on DMs and stuff, and he was like, "Oh, if he doesn't get back to you, it's probably because he's still in school." Well, right now obviously he's on summer break, but like, yeah, which is crazy.
Or maybe he's like going to college or something.
I don't know what he's doing. But yeah, being like 17, 18 years old.
Is that how young he is?
Dude, he's in high school. Yeah, I want to say 17, 18. I don't think he's younger than that. I mean, maybe he is. Cortez, if you're watching this, don't roast us, man. I'm sorry. But I don't know how old you are. And he already has a Montel Fish collab under his belt. And now a Cass collab.
Now Cass.
Yeah. Which is really sick. Which talks about, like, the song's called Daily. And it talks about, like, how we need God on the daily. And I think that's awesome. Because we were just talking about how if you just... And all of rap music... Christian hip-hop rap music, you hear a bunch of topics and it kind of mentions God here and there. That's why you see sometimes in the comments, oh, this music isn't about God anymore. Yeah. You guys sold out and all that stuff. And I don't think it's like that. I just think that's what they're going through at the moment. Yeah. And they're talking about it. And but people get all butthurt, like, where's Jesus? Jesus wasn't mentioned this. You guys said Jesus 2 times in this song or whatever. Yeah. You know? And I can see why that irritates them. Yeah. But, you know, an artist goes through daily life.
Yeah, seriously.
The difference between Christian hip hop and worship music, like Hillsong, Bethel, Elevation, is that their Elevation and all these guys aren't talking about their daily lives. No. Really. Sometimes they kind of connect it, but they always lead it to God.
Yeah, they just bring it back.
And a Christian hip hop artist, I feel like, does the same way, but maybe talks and elaborates in more detail what they're going through.
Yeah.
I know in their music they always kind of lead it to God, that's for sure. But they just kind of go into more detail about what they go through. Yeah. So,
and I think the whole thing with NF on his new album.
Yeah, NF, like with the search, listening to the whole album, I think it was like he's searching for change. Because one of the songs is called Change, and then it's the search. I'm assuming he's searching for change, and then if you listen to the whole album, you hear that like
what I got out of it.
Yeah, you hear like how he's still kind of getting out of that depressing state, which is sad. That's so sad to hear that. Almost all his albums, he's like been depressed in all of them, and that's where like his creative writing like thrives. Yeah. Unfortunately, right now, but I think like just keep praying. Like sometimes we always think of like artists and stuff like, oh, they don't need prayer, like whatever.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, these guys are already at the top. Like, why do I need to help keep continuing to help these guys grow?
And I think like honestly, pray for some of these artists, man. Like, I know, even going to like church conferences and seeing like these huge preachers, and then they at the end of the sermon will be like, hey, pray for me. All right. Everybody just pray 5 minutes for me, like Ronnie did. Yeah. And it's just like, like dang, I always forget like they're people too. Yeah. And NF with the Search album, he definitely talks like how last year and he was like in a suicidal state of mind. Yeah. Which sucks because that's terrible. And if he's a believer, that's just like, man, we definitely need to pray, because I know the church definitely lacks in prayer. But yeah, that whole album is just kind of crazy that it looks like he's finally gonna maybe dedicate more time to God.
Yeah, exactly. Like
that's kind of what I got out of it. Yeah, I mean, what did you kind of?
In one of his songs, I think, I forget which one, the name escapes me right now, but one of the lyrics was saying that like maybe he should start talking to God more again. Oh yeah.
Oh, like when he talks in Nate, where he's like talking to his younger self apparently, and he talks like he's telling him like, hey man, talk to the God more. Like he actually listens to you, and it's just like those little things. Yeah. That just like, as believers, if you're new to being Christian or you're new to maybe praying more, it's definitely, where did I see this? I forgot where I saw it, but it was just like, talk to God about your problems, and not so much. Oh, there's Lecrae. Like, yeah, there's Lecrae. He was like, talk to God about it, is what he tweeted or something.
Oh, yeah.
He said, talk to God about it. And then I kind of posted on Instagram, was just like, for the Facebookers, you know what I mean? Maybe this message relates to you a little bit more. But, instead of taking your anger out, I know how it is, just releasing on your freaking phone on like a post, going at somebody. Instead of doing that, just take it to God. Just be like, hey God, this is what I'm going through. Because in reality, he's right there. Like, he wants to know what's going on, even though he sees you.
Like he wants to like hear you cry out for him. Yeah. Yeah. Because he wants to help. Exactly. Ultimately, I mean, he loves us. So like, why not?
Yeah. So with that whole NF, man, I guess just keep praying for him, because I really want to see a point where NF gets to like express all this creative writing in a happier state of mind. I think that'd be so powerful, because he's a lyricist. Even though he thinks he's like, in the music, you hear him say like, oh, I'm not that good of a rapper, all my lyrics aren't that great, but like I think they're pretty freaking dope. And if he could just kind of get all that energy and put it in a more positive state of mind, that could be something powerful.
Yeah, I mean, and from what I look like, I think he's on his like healing process. So I think that's probably, we can probably expect to see something like that coming in the near future. Because he probably can't continue to, keep staying in that state of mind, man, because that's so unhealthy for people.
So unhealthy.
There has to be a point in your life where you have to like realize that you can't stay like that.
Yeah.
You know, like something has to change.
Right.
And
like that interlude that he was saying, you know, got triple platinum, whatever, on Let You Down.
Yeah.
Doesn't feel like a win.
The highest point of his life, of his career, was at the lowest point of his life.
That's insane. That's so sad.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man.
And we were saying, like, I mean, he's not the only one to go through this. You know, there's like all sorts of artists out there.
Yeah.
You know, go through something like that.
Yep. You see like movie stars. You see, you know, artists, secular artists. A lot of the seculars we see a lot of.
It's
like,
a lot of that.
A lot of, you know, oh, this sucks, and then boom, suicide. A lot of the time, unfortunately, you know.
But see but it changes the minute that you let God take over you. You know? The minute that you start being led by the Holy Spirit is the minute that you're gonna stop feeling like that.
Yep.
Like
Exactly.
you're not gonna be thinking like that anymore. Your whole like thought process completely changes.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's what we were talking about too. You know, there's this billionaire works in this huge, maybe, you know, I don't know, even know, like a huge building, New York, whatever, businessman, makes 6 figures a year, and then he's like on the brink of killing himself because there's no happiness in his life, because there's no fulfillment. He's got all the money in the world, he's spending it on whatever. Yeah. And it just comes down always to like, oh, I still feel empty. Like, and then meantime, you have a janitor, maybe, who's the happiest guy in the world because he has Jesus. Yeah. And he's making what? It's $15 an hour? I don't know. But like, still, it just goes to show you gotta prioritize. Yeah, seriously. So, yeah. We're rooting for NF. NF, keep going, man. I doubt he's gonna look at this. Maybe one day. Yeah, right. The other one was for King and Country. With collab with Miel San Marcos. The song is titled what is it called? God Only Knows in English. Solo Dios sabe. So God only knows, and the whole theme about it is like God's the only one that knows what you've walked through. God's the only one to really judge you for what you've done in your life and how you've gotten there. So it's like, in reality, it doesn't matter what he says about you, what I say about you. It's what God knows about you. So God only knows like what you've been through and that love he has for you, which is crazy because, I mean, first of all, it's crazy because they even collabed. Yeah, I mean that collab alone is just like nuts. I never thought that would have come. Miel San Marcos, for those of you who don't know, is a huge worship staple in Latino worship. So they're huge pretty much anywhere they speak Spanish. If there's a Christian community and they speak Spanish, they know about them. Anybody knows about Miel San Marcos usually. So to collaborate with another heavyweight like for King and Country, which is huge. They're from Australia, actually. I found that out. Really? Yeah, for King and Country's from Australia. Wow. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. Yeah. But yeah, that collaboration is pretty crazy. God only knows. Solo Dios sabe. That's pretty cool. What else do we got? Oh yeah, church conferences, guys. Church conferences. How important are church conferences? Well, I mean, from what I was saying earlier, like that push I was saying that got us into doing this. Yeah. Was. Oh, from the beginning, like when we started. Yeah. Like we had been talking about doing this podcast for a while. Yeah. And then. Godcast. So, while we were at this conference, oh, by the way, it's called 7 horas en su presencia, which means 7 hours in his presence. And guys, we're not kidding here when we say it's 7 hours. We're there for at minimum 7 hours, just receiving word and praising God and being ministered for literally not 7 hours straight. There is a break in between, but for at least 7 hours of the day, we're there doing this.
And this isn't like just one day. This is
It's 5 days.
5 days? Is it 5 days?
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Did it start on Monday?
I will say this: the first and last day they don't have the morning services. It's just afternoon services.
Right.
First and last day. So 3 days, we're there for 7 hours straight.
Yeah. So I guess if you were to put it all together, I guess it'd be 4 days. You know, if you were to include the first and last day together.
I guess it would be.
Yeah. So we're there for 4 days, and so while we were over there, it gave us that push because, you know, like a lot of the times when you want to do something like related to your faith or something like that, anything of the sort that relates to doing something with your faith in a public manner, it's almost like conflicting sometimes, especially for people who are just either starting out to being a Christian, or like people who really struggle to leave their past behind. You know,
who don't want to give that life up yet.
Yeah, who are like don't really want to give that life up yet. And for me, that's kind of what I went through. And so while we were over there, we were like, we got to do this podcast, man. And so we were like, all right, man, let's do it when we get back.
Shout out to all our Kansas City friends. Man, it's awesome. Mm-hmm. We've known them for a little bit. But like anybody who we met at Siete Horas, it was just shout out to all you guys because you guys are awesome.
Yeah. And for sure we're going to be there again next year. Hopefully we can meet up with some of you guys. You guys can head out there with us too. Yeah. We get to meet some of you guys, and we'll all get to praise God and you know, for Jesus and His Holy Spirit together. You know?
I think the best part about Siete Horas is how it's so spirit driven.
Yeah, very much so.
There's no time clock. It's crazy. You're there. Pastor Harrigan will literally get up and he'll be like, keep praising, and everybody's still praising. And he's just like, yeah, you guys are going to keep praising for a little bit. We're going to, you know, the Spirit is telling me right now to just keep praising. Yeah. So, like, we'll literally be there, and all of a sudden, like, an hour goes by, and then he'll come up, or whoever's the guest speaker will come up. You know, it's crazy. It's so, like, you know what? Everybody right now, just start praying. You know what I mean? Yeah. There's no time clock. Like, there's no, like, this guy gets an hour, this guy gets an hour.
There is and there isn't. Yeah. Like, it's crazy to see how it works, or how it all fits together in the end. Yeah. Because from what I see, like, from what I've seen, you know, we'll have certain segments that are longer than others. Mm-hmm. And then these other segments will be just as, like, long enough and for the perfect right amount of time to pass to continue on to the next segment. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like it always fits in the end.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was crazy. It almost, like, seriously, while we were there, I could have sworn that time, like, slowed down.
Straight up. Like, if we're there for, like, 4 hours. Yeah. Each, like, in the morning, and then 3 hours, you know, it's usually 3 hours in the morning, 4 hours in the afternoon. But when you're there, you're like, you get there, and time just flies. Next thing you know, oh, let's go eat. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Oh, it's 4 in the afternoon. I gotta eat something.
We should probably go eat something. And then we come back, and then, again.
Yeah, the cycle continues. Yeah. You know.
And you leave, like, so happy and so full and so ready to just punch the devil in the face. Yeah. You just leave like, let's go. Mm-hmm. Like, if the devil just comes up to me right now, like, God will destroy this guy. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that comes back to that empowerment that you felt. That we feel, really.
Yeah, well, that's why Activate was so, like, touching for me.
Tadashi's Activate.
Yeah. That's why, because, like, coming back from that, that's how I felt. Mm. And then I felt activated. Yeah. And so Tadashi was just like an anthem for me to, like, continue, you know?
Right. No, that's awesome. That's sick. I never even really connected those two together. But yeah, that's like when we got out the church conference, we were like, I told Mickey, I was like, Mickey, like we gotta step it up. We gotta take CHRISTBEAST to the next level, take all the companies we have to the next level, and then us spiritually as well. We gotta go that next level. And it definitely feels when you're there and you're praising and you're praying and just being filled with revelation that changes your life, you're like, wow, I'm moving up in levels right now in the church conferences. So definitely, if there's church conferences near you, I know it's kind of like the end of July already. July is kind of like the main conference month, but you gotta go. You gotta go to church conference. It just fills you up.
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah.
And then the whole thing that you were just saying, like new levels, you know,
new levels, new devils,
new levels, new devils, right? And I mean, and that's true. You know, that's true.
That's real.
Yeah, that's real. That's real. Like,
no, yeah.
So the way I see it is like, when I was what was I reading? I think it was Samuel, First Samuel, when David and Goliath were going head to head.
Yeah.
You know, and was it the king that ordered everybody to get him suited up and get him ready for battle?
Right.
You know.
And he's Saul, the King Saul.
Yeah, King Saul. And
he's like, take my armor.
Yeah, he's like, take my armor. And then David essentially was just like, I don't need all this.
Yeah.
You know? And he left that.
Yeah.
Because that was dragging him down.
Right.
You know? And so what I'm trying to get at is like, with the new levels thing, like, if we're like stuck at a certain point of our life, like, when you shift gears in a car, you know, it requires you to, you know, make a manual change, or you know, it changes for you or whatever.
Yeah.
And then, so basically, like, if you're stuck at a certain point in your life,
hold on,
like, there's one point that you need to change something.
Yeah.
You know,
I really like how you said manual change, because that's crazy right there. Yeah, I could see that. And yeah, and it's also like King Saul's like, here, take my clothes, take what I have, it'll help you. And it's like, no, I don't need what you have.
Yeah,
I need I know what God has in me right now. You know what I mean? And it's just having that level of confidence. It's like, wherever you are in your life, if you're dedicating time to God in the way you should, anything that comes at you, you have power to take it over. You have authority, pretty much.
Exactly.
To get rid of that.
To conquer it.
To overcome it. Yep. Yeah, that's
how easy powerful. Was it for David?
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
Was he using a sword and shield?
You know, it's funny because that always takes me to
he had a slingshot.
Yeah. That takes me to Pastor Hadrigan in Kansas City. He said, he was like preaching. He was just like, he was telling a story of how when he was at some church event and he was praying and ministering to people and people were getting healed and all that stuff. And then after the service is over, another preacher comes up at him and he's just like, wow, you make it look so easy. That's so, like, how do you do it so easy? And he was like, easy? Like, that took 8 hours of prayer. That took nights, like, just seeking God. So it's not, you know, it's not easy to get to the point where you defeat your Goliath. It's not easy. You know, it might seem like
defeating your Goliath in that moment was the easy part. Was the easiest part of that. Yeah. You know, but like getting to that point is what can cost you.
I think there's different levels of trials. There's trials where like the problem might actually be the problem. You know what I mean? The problem might be like, oh crap, like when am I gonna get through this type deal. But then there's like moments like Goliath, where you dedicate all your time to God just to get to the problem that you can destroy that problem.
Right.
Yeah. Cool, guys.
And that's conferences, guys.
Yeah, that's church conferences right there. Like, that's they didn't talk about this in the church conference we just went to, but it's that level of revelation that they give you.
Yeah.
That you're just like, wow, like, it's
seriously.
crazy.
And you receive so much, man. There's just so much that you can take away from these church conferences. So let us know in the comments. Like, let us know of any church conferences that you guys might have been to that been really eye-opening for you guys, or ones that you would like to see us at, and maybe we can get to meet you guys a little bit, because like honestly I love meeting other Christian friends.
You need Christian friends. Like, I get it's crazy. We definitely need our circle to be with God based people, like mentality wise. We need to be around people who have vision of seeing further than the situation they're currently in. And I think that's very impactful if you have that, but with Christian friends. Because all of a sudden you're like, yeah, the vision that Mickey has, all of a sudden I can see it too, and that gives me inspiration to keep going further as well. Mm-hmm. And it's just to give you that push to like, hey, keep going. Because God has like a lot in store for all of us. Yeah. So if you can just surround yourself with those types of people, man, you can definitely go far in life. And
yeah, for real,
it's incredible how far you can go. But
that's time, guys.
That's it. That's the Godcast.
Expect to see
first episode.
One. I think we said that one every month.
We're gonna do one every month.
Wrapping it up, like kind of like what we just did. Just wrapping up the month.
This is July. Yeah.
So yeah, we just finished July. So by the time you guys see this, it might have been like a couple days since we finished recording. Yeah. But
the next one will be August 5th. Mm-hmm. No. September. Dang,
September 5th. So we
5th,
have all
recapping August.
Yeah, recapping August.
And we might release a few videos here and there. Short videos of some other stuff, but for like the Godcast, it's gonna be the 5th of every month, I think. Yeah. So let us know what you think, guys. Follow us on CHRISTBEAST on Instagram, and let us know your thoughts on the whole thing.
Like, comment, subscribe.
Oh yeah, hit that little bell. Hit the bell.
So you know when the next video is gonna come up.
Yeah, stop sleeping, guys. The Godcast.
Let us know who you guys want to see on the show. We want to do some interviews and stuff like that with tons of artists as well. So let us know in the comments who you guys want to see, or topics that you guys want to touch on. And we can give you our revelation of what we read from the Bible. And we can share that message with you guys too.